I want to gather everyone into a room somewhere and I want to work on music that I might not get a chance to ever music direct. My partner and I created the ensemble project and we did a pilot class and we had like 45 people come and it went so well. It blew up so fast.
Hey there, I'm Antonio Perri. This is Let's Pretend with MAP, Episode 2. Today I'm talking with music director Jacob Carll. He's worked on Broadway and Mamma Mia, on the national tour of Elf, and he just finished music directing She Loves Me at Bucks County Playhouse. He's also served on the faculty at NYU's Tisch School of the Arts and at Syracuse University. He's also the co-founder of the very cool Broadway Ensemble Project, a rehearsal-style class where singers train in the pace and pressure of a professional room, sharpening their ensemble skills so they're always performance-ready. Let's get into it. Jacob, welcome. So happy to have you with us here today. So I have one question for you right off the bat, what I was thinking about before we started, which is, my wife grew up in Ketchikan, Alaska, and okay. I'm always interested when I'm up in Ketchikan about what gets people to Alaska, because it's always a bizarre story.
Right.
They think about that in terms of what gets people into music direction, because what we do is so bizarre.
Right, yeah.
So 2 questions. 1, how did you get into the game? And 2, I wonder where you stand on, is what we do a profession or a calling?
Okay, yeah, that's funny. I bet like with everyone you've talked to, no one has had like direct path to this. Mine was not. I grew up in Olean, New York, which is like an hour and a half south of Buffalo, New York. So Western New York State. Small town, not a big art scene. My grandma had an organ in her house, as grandmas do, and I wanted to play. And she was very musical, and so there was always music playing in our house, and I wanted to play the organ. And so I started like noodling around on it and I was learning what I know now is by ear. And so then I got put into piano lessons, but there was always something about like just musical theater in general. And I remember I was probably like 5 or 6 years old and this is when like something on the news was talking about Annie, like the Annie revival that was happening at that time, and they were searching for an Annie, and I was like obsessed with Annie as a kid, of course. And I would like put on productions of Annie in my living room, and we had like a stereo that had like a 3 CD changer on it and like 2 cassettes, and I had a wired mic, and I would like sing all the parts to Annie, and I was like trying to figure out all that music just by ear on like a little like 2-octave keyboard that my parents got me as a gift. So then I got put into piano lessons, but I also like was just like drawn to music in general. I wanted to play violin, I wanted to play trumpet, and then I would get moved to different instruments depending on what the teachers needed. But then I wanted to be I was like, I want to be on Broadway. Like I want to be a singer on Broadway. That's my goal. I want to be Annie, but the male version of Annie, and which is Oliver. But I didn't even know Oliver existed. I didn't know that. And so then all through like middle school and high school, I was like in chorus. I went to all state chorus. I went to all Eastern chorus. I competed and everything, but also my choir teachers knew I could play piano. So then
that sentence. If you can play. So wait, hold on. I gotta ask you this because I'm so curious, because I started out doing lots of things by ear. Do you have pitch?
No. I mean, I think I have relative pitch, but I don't have perfect pitch at all.
Okay.
And so, but like I can tell when something's wrong. And so I would like figure out melodies I like listen to it and then until I could hear it right on the piano. But I couldn't like hear an A and go, oh, that's an A.
But you were fast.
Like, yes.
But you were fast. When you were doing things by ear, were you figuring out, did you have an understanding of harmony quickly?
No, not at all.
Okay, interesting. So then when did you start having formal piano lessons?
Yes, so I think probably around 3rd grade, I studied with this husband and wife, and the wife taught until you got to a specific level, and then the husband took over after that. And it was all Suzuki method at the time.
Oh, more ear.
Yes.
Ear.
Yeah, so a lot of like listening to the cassette tape and then playing back, and like that was teaching me how to, because I couldn't really read music that well. And like I even remember when I was learning bass clef, I wrote in all the note names in the bass clef because I could not figure out how to read it, which is bizarre because I'm an extremely good sight reader now. But
I remember your resume saying that you were an advanced sight reader.
Yeah, I love doing that.
Do you remember how old you were when that clicked for you? When you thought, oh, okay, I'm over a reading hump.
Yeah, probably like fifth or sixth grade.
Well, that's fast.
Yeah, like I started to realize that like, well, I progressed kind of quickly in those lessons, and I switched teachers to the husband after that. Because
Uh-huh.
then he was trying to teach me theory, but he was also a church musician. So we were going through like hymnal books. And I was
I
like, oh my
see.
God, I was like, this is so boring. I hated it so much. All the theory he was teaching me, he was making me do like Chopin, like etudes and stuff,
Yep.
like
Oh
in
yeah.
middle school. And I was like the raindrop, and I was like, I hate that. I just wanted to play like Billy Joel and Elton John, and because that's like what my dad would listen to. Like I was listening to a lot of Phil Collins and yes, and like all these like 80s and 70s rock bands. And so I was like, I don't want to play this classical stuff. But it was all that Suzuki stuff, so I had to do it anyway. But like the agreement was that for every like one classical song I had to learn, I got to do like one musical theater song. And then there would be like a recital at the end of the year. And so I would do something classical. And then I remember like playing New York, New York for the recital. I played Belle. And I remember like parents coming up to me and they were like, thank you for playing something we recognize. And I was like, you're welcome, because I enjoy this.
Well, this is always the rub. I mean, I have an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old right now.
Yeah,
And this is always the rub with music education is how do you get people in the door?
correct.
I
Correct.
find because I've spent a whole lifetime in music, but
Right.
my whole introduction to it was so backwards because in the beginning, my playing was so much more advanced than my reading.
Sure. Yeah.
For I think for most people that just want to experience the joy of music or the brain tease, who
Yeah.
cares?
Right.
But
Yes.
how do you get people in the door? But then there's the technical side that if you can play all the Chopin etudes, you're a badass motherfucker.
Right. Right. Well, it's funny.
But if you're
I ended up,
11,
right. Like you have to
it's
like
all
it.
over.
Yeah.
I don't. Well, I also I'm wondering if you've had this experience of I found that in my conductor life, I call it the classical sheen. There's this pretense. I cannot for the life of me figure it out. But
Yes.
anyway, I'm thinking about you with this experience of playing Revolutionary Etude when you were 11 years old.
Right.
I want to go back to 11-year-old you, like with the awesome joy of working out that left-hand fingering
Right.
without that fucking pretense.
I know. Yes. I honestly, because like I ended up quitting my piano lessons shortly after that. Like when I was like in eighth grade, maybe I was like, I don't want to go anymore. And I stopped going because it wasn't as fun. And I also like am notoriously a really bad practicer. Like I really just I don't like it. I really don't like it. And like I don't have a lot of like self determination to I mean like so like I don't know if you probably saw on Instagram that I played at Mamma Mia last week. And
Yes, and
so
I want to talk about
yeah, and so
I want to
like
talk about that because the first Broadway sub is a big deal.
yeah, like
Congratulations, by the
huge.
way.
Thank you. Thanks.
It's
And
a big it's a
I
big deal.
right, and like that keyboard three book is not difficult at all except for three parts that are exposed. And
Whoa,
I
whoa, 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 wait. Sorry.
yeah.
Stop right there. Because to anyone watching this, when you are under the pressure, especially of the first Broadway sub,
Oh
I
yeah.
don't care if you're doing this. It's all hard.
Correct. That is true.
It
Yes.
doesn't matter because it's the pressure. If you can
Yes.
withstand the pressure and the heat of it, and you did,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like if you got asked back and
I
you
did.
you okay.
Yeah. Thank
So
God. Yeah.
that's a huge win. Getting past that first one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm not letting that go. Well
Yeah.
done.
Thanks.
It's all hard.
No, that's true. Yeah, yeah. And so I was like, and I knew I had Friday as a date or Saturday, whatever day it was. And so I was like practicing. But I to sit down at that piano and like go back to my training for a second and like really break things down. I'm like so bad at that. And so when I was in piano lessons, I was like, my mom would just like yell at me for not practicing like before the lesson. And I would like, oh, I'm just gonna like look at the music. By then I was a good sight reader. I can kind of like fake my way through this.
One thing I'm really
Yeah.
curious about in terms of the practicing, and I think it kind of goes to a core of who becomes music directors and who becomes players.
Yeah.
Where do you find yourself on the introvert extrovert scale?
Oh, I'm such an introvert.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
interesting. It's not what I thought you were going to
Yeah,
say.
but I play a really good extroverted introvert. Like when I am, because I'm a teacher as well, so like when I teach, like I can turn that
Yes.
on and like that does fuel me, but like and like we'll probably talk about the Broadway Ensemble Project. Like when I
Oh,
leave the
for
class,
sure.
like I turn into showman for sure, but like when I get home, I'm so drained from it. And my partner is very extroverted, so he like really gets fuel from interactions with people and like being in social settings all the time. And I get so exhausted so quickly from all of that. And it's not like my comfort zone. Like I think I'm just like I'm too heady about it. I get too, I don't know, self-conscious and it's a little too much of a, I don't know what it is. Yeah.
That's so cool. You're almost that kind of makes me think of um, it's like the Jungian concept of the wounded healer. It's
Sure.
like
Yes.
you're in the filth, you're in the dirt with everyone, helping them work it out because so are you.
Yeah.
In terms
Yes.
of, and I do very much think that good MD is the good teacher. I've always called it a music director is a mentor in disguise.
Correct. Yes. And like
I
I
stole
know
that
I do
from
better work when like that is the environment for sure.
yeah, I stole that from when my wife had our first baby, and it was a medical doctor was a midwife in disguise. That's where I thought
Yes.
of that.
Yeah.
I just said a music director is a mentor in disguise. It's essentially it's really what we do. We're teachers
Yes.
because
1000%. Yes.
how do we get people to do things? I don't know if you've found this because half the time, what do we do? It's like okay, do it again and do it better.
Right.
80% of the time that works, and the 20% of the time that it fails, we think, oh shit, okay,
Right.
now what are we gonna do?
Yeah. Like we have to teach something. Like we have to teach a
You have
skill.
to
We
figure it
have,
out.
right.
Yeah, and that's where it gets hard because
Yeah.
you actually have to to figure it out, and then it's especially you have to dig into okay, are we in vocal mode? Are we in
Right.
instrumental mode? Are we
Right.
in conducting mode? Is it theater mode? Is it the weird vocal acting line? Is it
Right.
the am I dealing? Are we dealing with a weird director acting line, weird actor line, weird? Are we
Whose
in weird
world is it?
management line? Yeah, it's
Yep.
are we in a jazz musician line, classical musician line? Which is it?
Yeah. Right. And I talk about this all the time in like when we have to write a cover letter or whatever. I always talk about how like we have to speak so many different languages because like and like because I come from a performance background first, like I like we have to know when a choreographer is like, okay, they're doing fouettes here and a triple on the left and it has to land on this. We're like, okay, how do I translate that to what we're doing? And then the director is like, okay, but I need this to happen in 5 breaths. And you're like, what does that mean? Okay, great. And then the set designer is like, okay, but this turntable is going to take 45 seconds to turn completely. And you're like, oh my God, right. And it all comes down to us, of course. It comes down to us to make it happen. And so we have to translate all of that. Like when people are like, what do music directors do? You're like, well, we do everything. We do it all. We have to.
I always think of it as the older I've gotten and the longer I've done it, always trying to get better at reading people
Yes. Yeah.
or understanding. But I also think it's also understanding ourselves.
Right.
The better I've gotten at understanding myself, and the deeper that's gotten. A conductor friend of mine who I
Oh, hold
worked
on.
with in New York, he used to say, it's not really a great young person's job. I am super interested to learn about your Broadway Ensemble Project. Tell
Sure.
me
Yes.
about how that came about. It's super interesting to me, especially because how I met my spouse was I started going up to Ketchikan, Alaska in 2004 as part of this jazz cabaret program from one of my NYU teachers because we both went to
Yeah.
NYU, and I used to work with these local people, these just regular people up in Ketchikan, Alaska, once a year, and I did this for years. And something I came across in the biography of Steve Jobs that Walter Isaacson wrote was
Read
this
that. Yeah.
concept of the A-Team. I don't know, did you read that book?
Yes. Yes. Right after
Yeah,
he passed and that book came out like shortly after.
yeah.
And yeah.
And one thing that really resonated with me was this concept of the A-Team loves to work with the A-Team, and that the A-Team loves to share their knowledge. It's
Yes.
the B and the C team that doesn't like to share their knowledge. And I have found in my professional life that to be very true.
Yeah.
And when I saw this program that you have with the Broadway Ensemble Project, right away I went, oh, that's an A team thing. That's
Yeah.
the A team wants to share their knowledge. So I tell us about the Broadway Ensemble Project and how they came about.
Yeah, it's for everyone. So I moved to New York in 2012, and then I was here for a while doing my thing, and then I ended up moving upstate for a while to teach. And so I made the choice to move back to New York this year full time instead of just trying to drive back and forth. And I didn't have any, I know, and I didn't have any jobs lined up this year. And I was like, man, I just wish there was like some kind of program I could do. I mean, it's getting more popular now, I guess, for like college programs to exist for music directors, but obviously that wasn't a thing when we were in school. So like I was like, I just wish there was like a playground for me to practice my music directing. And then I was realizing that that doesn't exist for ensemble singers either. Like when you're in school, they like kind of train you to take acting, singing, dancing separately, and then you get lucky if you get cast in the semester show to put it all together. And I was like, I want to gather everyone into a room somewhere. And I want to work on music that I might not get a chance to ever music direct. And I did the Ballad of Sweeney Todd for the pilot class because I was
Oh,
like,
love it.
I don't know when I'll get a chance to music direct this show just because it's so rarely done. And when it is done,
Hmm.
like I want to do it with full orchestra and, I want to do the whole thing. My partner and I created the ensemble project and we did a pilot class and we had like 45 people come and it went so well. And everyone was like, wow, as a singer, this doesn't even exist for us. And I was like, man, like that's incredible because like I'm learning so much every single time I go to class. I'm learning about like the different skill levels here in the city. I'm learning more about like who needs this, who doesn't need this, what are people looking for, and it blew up so fast, honestly. We have like 1,300 people on the mailing list now who all want to take
Wow.
classes, and it was one every other week, and now it's two a week if I can manage it. The classes can get up to 50 people each time. Like they just people like there's true people in the industry who are taking the class, of course, who are like actively auditioning and doing this. But there's also a lot of people who are just like, I did theater growing up and I haven't had a chance to do it since. And like, I want to sing with people, but I'm nervous about, I'm not in the industry. And I'm like, come, like, it doesn't matter. Like, everyone is still doing the thing together.
Well, you know what's making me think of, because something my wife and I talk about a lot is we don't, we don't have any outlets to have community sing anymore.
No. Like community choruses are kind of hard to find. And if you can find one, sometimes they're like at a church and not everyone feels comfortable doing that, or it's like not music or a skill level you're looking for or something. And like there are choruses here in New York, but I don't know if there's any that are specializing in musical theater songs only. And so it's like a combo thing. It's like it's helping them, but it's helping me also. Like I've been doing a
Hmm.
lot of Wicked songs because Wicked is my dream job. And so I was like, well, when else would I ever get a chance to music direct things from Wicked? Well, my own company. Like might as well just start my own
There you
company.
go.
And like there's also a chance for like other music directors, like if they're preparing for a job, I was like, well, you could bring it into the ensemble project and like work on it with like I have a built-in chorus for you. Or like if there's pianists who are like just want to get into playing musical theater, I'm like, well, I have a class for you to come play for. And so like next week I'm launching this thing called the Sitz Probe series where we're gonna do at the end of the day from Les Mis, and I'm got 11 musicians who are gonna come and we're gonna reenact a sitz probe, because otherwise you only get to do a sitz probe when you're cast in the show. And a lot of people here in the city are not getting cast right now, and so they're like, I'm looking for the experience to do this. And I was like, when do we ever get to practice a sitz probe? Never. Like you are in the sitz probe, you are doing the sitz probe. I was like, how can I like reenact this so that we all can get better at Sith probe together.
Genius. Genius.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
and
like it doesn't
I mean,
exist.
I always think of this web as for people who do this, it's the best day
Yes,
in the
yes,
process. My buddy David Chase used to say, it's the day the music goes from black and white to Technicolor.
correct. Yes, everyone looks forward to Sith probe. Everyone has the best time. The energy is always so good. And I was like, I
I
don't want to wait until I'm like when I'm in the show to get there to do that. Like I want to experience that more often. So like why not just do that? Like why
it
not
would
find a space, find the musicians, get the singers. and do it.
I love that you're just making that happen. That is fantastic. Tell me more about what your. I want to go a little bit more in depth about
Sure.
what you're learning from it. Tell me some more about like what's happening as you've been going through like the ensemble project. Like what are some secrets that are being revealed?
Yeah, so like because currently there's no like base skill level or high level, like everyone's on a different skill level. The things
Mm-hmm.
that I'm used to like doing in my process, like I work incredibly fast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I can leave people in the dust sometimes and I'm like, just take the note, and then we'll chat
Mm-hmm.
after. Um, so I've been learning really about people's like learning styles, which has been really fascinating. And like things that I say, I'm like, okay, I need to say this two other ways. It's like one's visual, one is oral, and one is something else. Like I can play the notes, but I need to sing it with them too, or I need to like have the whole section sing it and not just here's your notes kind of thing. Like I'm learning what is more effective for most people, as opposed to this is how I work. You all need to kind of go with me on this. And so I'm just like finding like what is way more effective and what's producing the result I'm looking for easier. Because I told you kind of earlier, like I can get like kind of showmany in these classes. Like I love to present and perform and everything. And so I can like sometimes I feel like I'm overacting to try to get a result. And I was like, I can just relax a little bit and just say this one other way, or I can have the altos sing with the sopranos. Let's all sing the soprano part together. Let's all do this together. Or, hey, I'm going to turn this incredibly hard harmony into some kind of exercise really fast for everyone to sing, even though it's just the tenors that need it, kind of thing. And that, to me, I'm finding like, oh, that is producing the result with 50% less effort than I was used to doing. If I just like think about how else can I say this one thing. And that's only because everyone's skill level in the room is so varied. And like that's been helping me not get stuck into like, okay, everyone's coming in at the top of their game. And so I have high expectations, do what I say. That's not really working. And I experienced that with She Loves Me as well because we had a full equity cast. And so I was like, oh, we have some of Broadway's best in this show. Everyone makes the same mistakes. The person who's
Yep.
doing their first Broadway show versus the 10th Broadway show, they all are going to make the same mistakes. Some people don't read music that well. Some people
Nope.
have, like, the rhythm is not strong. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how
Nope.
many shows they've done. Everyone's skill levels are like this.
Yep.
And like that's another part of the ensemble project is like someone in that room is an incredibly strong reader, but the person sitting next to them is not. And so they're gonna help each other because it's an ensemble. And like that's how I learned to get better. And so that's how they're all learning to get better. And so the vibe has been so good in the room and everyone always leaves going, I'm feeling more confident. And we're getting a lot of like dancers who sing who are like always nervous about a singer call. And I'm like, come to that. Like the stakes are so low. Like you'll come here, you won't be exposed unless you want to be. You get to sing with everyone else, you get to be in a safe space, and you're gonna practice how to
Oh,
do
I
this.
love it. I love what you're doing because you're doing the kind of environment that I always want to create when I'm working,
Yeah,
which is
same. Yeah.
what I always think of is I just want to leave people better than how I found them.
Correct. Yes.
Or one of my mentors just always used to say to me, he would say, well, if people don't know something, just teach it to them.
Right. Right.
So, okay, because some people say, well, I don't know that. Okay, well, here's what it is. I always find fascinating with what we do because I think that everybody always wants to make it magic.
Yeah.
I think in all artistic process, it's so hard to face that the artistic process is can be really unromantic.
Correct. Yes.
And what I'm hearing you say is you're just getting reps,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Like you're actually building in this process. You're doing two things, which I think is great. One, you're doing a service for the community that is needed, right? Because
Yeah.
if I mean, look, it's what's the out of work percentage for AEA? 95%,
Yes.
right? Okay,
Quite
we,
high.
we just this is right. We just know this. This
Yeah.
just it's just how it goes. Okay, great.
Right.
So 95% AEA members are just always going to be out of work. A lot of them live in NYC. So You're providing this service for people who just want to keep their chops up.
Yeah.
Amazing. But also for you, you're getting in these reps of being a better teacher and being more
Yeah.
efficient with how to do it, so that each time you're doing it, you're getting better at how to actually get a result. But it's
Yeah,
not
and basically
magic.
put myself through school. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something I found when I was at the Fifth Avenue, when I just was doing project after project after project after project, whether I was the MD on it or I was supervising it. After a while, I just found like I was just so much faster
Yeah.
than when I was having these long stretches
Right.
in
Yes.
between. Again, it was just like playing. It's nothing special.
Right. Like you're staying in shape with your skills.
I mean, it's the same thing that I'm always working on with people with conducting. Everyone wants to pretend that, I mean, again, it's not that there's no truth to it. I just always find this fascinating. You see it with acting and singing too. Well, I just want it to be about all my feelings. Well, you need your feelings.
Right.
But at the end of the day, sometimes it is really fucking clinical.
Correct. Yes.
It's a really clinical thing. And wow, we just want to resist that.
Yeah.
I don't know why it is that we hate that so much.
I don't know. And I feel like maybe like we've romanticized like what we do sometimes, that the
I
clinicalness
do
of
too.
it. Yeah, like
But it's just so in my face as I'm listening to you say this, that you're going through this process of you're getting in all these reps. And like, yeah, it's making you badass.
yeah.
And
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 like
so
I say it in the class too. I'm like, as a music director, like obviously we get like the first day of, music rehearsal, which is always a great day. But then depending on that rehearsal schedule, say you're on a muni schedule, like, okay, you have music review like 5 days, 6 days later, maybe if you're lucky. Like we don't often get more time. And so I'm like, my goal is that, so say we're music rehearsal on the first day, and then the next day we're staging. So you've already forgotten 50% of what I gave the first day. My goal
mhm.
is for you to only forget like 30% instead. Like I'm hoping that like just because you're used to being in music rehearsal now, your skills are there so that you don't have to work so hard to prepare for the next day because it's going to stay in there. Because like I hate, and I'm sure music directors across the board always feel the same thing, like where you got it sounding so good in that music rehearsal and then they go to choreo and you're like, well, there goes all the musicality, there goes all the cutoffs, there goes everything we worked on because their brains are of course focusing on steps. And you're like, I hope that before we go into tech, we get a day to review it and like clean it up.
Yeah,
But like,
and the thing
sometimes
is,
we don't.
it's not coming, and that's where
Right.
you have to be. The thing is, I think is that's where you have to start being practical, and
Right.
like for example, it's like just surrendering to reality.
Yeah.
I have a thing now where the minute it's on its feet, I don't allow it to go back into the studio.
Yeah.
I just don't do it because
Right.
once it's in their body, it's easy for
Okay.
them.
Yeah. Right.
The problem is because the other thing too, it's because if you've done some performance, you understand it's the integration
Yeah.
that becomes difficult. So
Yes.
how do we help them understanding what's hard? Now it's just being more of a scientist. Okay, what's difficult?
Right.
Okay, well, it's the integration. Okay. You know what actually you know what actually I have found to be effective? Especially if you're lucky enough to have a bit of a staff and like you're not playing.
Yeah.
Get up in there in the
Yeah.
rehearsal hall. Walk amongst them.
Yeah.
Can you make it so that they're comfortable enough with you? I mean, I kind of have a joke with people where like on the first day, because I try to have a high standard, but
Yeah.
how can you have a high standard but not be a complete dick about it?
Right.
That's the
Yes.
hard part, right?
Yeah.
But look, okay, fine. I think the
Right.
thing that they don't understand is like, everyone's always out of tune.
Right.
It's so hard. They're like, that's no, it's not together. It's not in tune. I'm like, but it's nobody's in tune.
Right. I'm like, let's just do it again. Let's fix it. We got it.
Yeah, it's like all these amazing orchestras. Like the strings, they're fighting to the death to be in tune.
Correct.
It's
Always.
all these people think about.
Yeah.
You know, these
Tune in.
these
Yeah.
amazing singers that I've worked with for years. that are such badasses, all these musicians, all they're thinking about, badass rhythm section players, all we are thinking about is, am I together?
Yes,
So these are
correct.
discussions, right? Well, I'll say to them, you're not lined up. It's not tight. Oh, I'll say to them, but the thing that you're not understanding is the reason that I'm on it and you're not is because I'm always thinking about it. Now, granted,
Correct.
I don't necessarily have to be memorized. I'm
Right.
not thinking about necessarily the moment before or my action or my blah, 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 blah,
Yeah, the other
blah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah, or like I have to be. I remember I was subconducting "Come From Away" years ago,
Hmm.
and you have to be in two scenes with the damn
Right.
accordion. It had been a while since I'd done anything on stage, and when I actually had to be on, okay, be on six, be on this, I went,
Right.
oh yeah, that's hard.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
never on the right number.
Right.
I was giving me some empathy for my actor buddies
Yeah.
about all the things that they have to do, plus, have good vocal position, all those things.
Yeah.
But that being said, it doesn't occur to them sometimes that you and I don't miss the end of four because we're
Right.
going one, two, three, four, and.
Right. We're ready for it.
And then you will always get it until
Right.
then eventually, like months from now, then you won't have to do it. Oh. And you're kind of
Right.
like, yeah, it's that hard. Like it
Yes.
takes that much concentration. And that's the thing that sometimes I find will like blow their mind
Correct.
in terms of I talk about this with a lot of musician friends of mine. Like it's just that hard
Yeah.
being the mind blowing thing.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
I find that that's a big part of our job. It's just that hard
Yes. Yeah.
if you want to be badass.
Right. And that's the goal.
Yeah, and sometimes it's I think that there's a real I don't I'm curious if you find that there's a resistance. Are you finding out in the world when you're trying to just have a thing of when we're super badass, this is fun.
Yes,
And
actually.
like do you find that sometimes there's a resistance to I find it's half and half. Like when I can actually get people to be in this space of like I want it to be up here, and when it's up here, it is so awesome. People are like,
Yeah.
actually, it is awesome, but it's also really hard.
Yeah. That's a great. I've never really thought about it just because like that. Yeah. There have been many times in a rehearsal or even in my class where like well, I'll give some notes and we'll do it again. And like the second it ends, everyone's like, "Oh my God." And I'm like, "Right. That's right." Like did you all feel that? Did you all hear that? Do you all like you all reacted to that? And I think it's just because it takes like 10% more effort and they're just like, "Oh, I need to get conditioned to do that all the time." And I'm like, "Right, but that's the expectation at least." Like I want that every time. And I say that in rehearsal all the time. Like when something is so good, I'm like, "Okay, now that's got to be the minimum. I need that every time if you can give it to me, because otherwise I'm gonna be so sad if I don't get it. And like you will all be sad too, because like you're not gonna hear it, you're not gonna feel it like you just did. Like that is the goal. Like, don't you want that? Like, come on, just do it.
But do you find that I'm just curious in your professional life, do you find that you get a lot of resistance?
Uh, like yes and no. I feel like I don't know actually.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
Yeah.
think about it too. I think I probably would respond the same way. But if I'm being honest, I mean, even when I was I think it varied. If I'm being really honest, there were times even when I was in my hardcore Broadway days, sometimes that was there.
Yeah.
I, if I'm being super blunt, I would have to do more pushing on the actor side than I would on the musician side.
Yes, I would agree with that. Yeah. I think that especially when it comes to instrumentalists, to me this is just a general thing. It's just like the training is a bit more rigorous because for instrumentalists than it is for musical theater performers. Maybe just because like with musical theater performers they have to do there's 4 or 5 skills that they have to like be honing in at once. And because I feel like when I like my musicians tend to just have this like the specificity and the drive and like it's already kind of there. and like they understand a little bit deeper like what the expectation is. And I feel like with musical theater performers, again, I was one, like
Yes.
we can fake some things or like give a little less here to get a little more here kind of thing. And I'm like, right, but that thing that you just gave a little less on, I'm not so pleased with now kind of thing.
Well, you know what I've said over the years is I could take my kids and I could give them a script and they could speak it.
Right,
They could sing some of it. Now, they're not trained actors.
right.
So, in terms of being super skilled, they can't. But if I gave them an oboe, they just can't do it.
No, I don't even know where I would begin with an oboe.
I know more people that have quit the oboe than any other instrument.
And it's funny because like oboe, English horn, bassoon are my three favorite instruments. Like if I ever get those in my orchestras, I'm like, wow, I'm so lucky to have this. Because like I did a Christmas Carol last year, the Alan Menken Christmas Carol last year, and the reed part ended up like reducing to like there's like five reeds, and I was like, well, I have to have English horn and oboe because that's the Christmassy sound. And I was like so glad to have it, and I'm just like, right, but that person who trained on that instrument like worked their ass off.
And that's a thing. Like
Yeah.
there's this inherent if you've gotten to a place where you can play a violin somewhat in tune, that was years.
Yes, right. It is just inherently so difficult to be an instrumentalist.
But I mean, when I think over the years of like certain people that on the actor side, I'm just thinking of someone like say a Vicky Clark,
Oh, love, yes.
just ferocious and
Yeah.
dangerous in terms of we did Cinderella together. She's like a jazz musician
Yeah.
in terms of it's not the same what she does from night to night.
Yeah.
Dangerous. I mean, I just found her to be exciting in that way. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a person that really like gets off on that.
Yeah.
When I see there were like the actors who I used to call them like connect the dots. Like they're
Right.
consistent, but they
Like you know
just
what
do
they're
the
gonna
same.
do. Yeah.
You know who else was funny? Who was in that show? Harriet Harris.
Yes.
Dangerous. She
Correct.
was not afraid to.
Yes.
I mean, but I didn't have a problem with that. Yeah, but I have found there's really only a handful over the years of people who they had such an understanding of the craft, and like Vicky would. I mean,
Right.
she would just take it so seriously
Yes. Yeah.
that it would come through. It was just more on the rare side. I
Yeah.
have found.
For
I mean,
sure.
there's like not trying to talk shit about actors. I've like
No.
worked with tons. It just was harder to
Yeah.
find people who are just especially like someone who sings like that. It's
Yeah.
like, no,
It's
no, no.
almost
Well,
like there's a difference between musical theater performers who act like a or think like a performer as opposed to a musician. And it sounds like Vicky thinks like a musician.
an artist, like a
Yeah,
real,
right.
who's just like transcends. And I
Yeah.
think just what I was always interested in is, and because I think especially it sounds like you too. Like if you want to try and understand all the different angles.
Right. Yes.
I mean, I think if you're any kind of theatrical MD, you're forced to it. Tell me about like, your conducting life.
Yeah, it's rare when I get to actually conduct. I mean like stick conduct. Well, I get to obviously
I
I'm
mean,
an
I mean, I just meant that like like
oh
either. I mean, like
yeah.
conduct
So
either leading,
yeah,
however it is.
I come from like a choral background. I kind of mentioned like I like chorus was huge for me growing up. I loved chorus. And like when I was in high school, I asked to conduct sometimes. So I got to conduct my high school chorus a couple times and there was like something about that was super exciting to me. So when I was an undergrad, we had to take 3 semesters, I think, of conducting. We had to learn how to use the baton and everything as well and score prep, all those kind of things. And I loved it. I loved conducting so much. And this is way before I thought I was ever gonna be a music director. I just thought like I want to conduct choruses because there was something so like theatrical about it. And there was
Mm-hmm.
so something that was like so emotional about it that like I resonated with because I'm a Cancer, so I'm a very emotional person as it is anyway. And I think because I'm introverted, I was like, oh, this is a way for me to get some of that like out. But also like I consider myself fairly musical. And so like there's things in music that like I notice I think that some people just don't like think, oh, it'd be so cool to do this thing here. I'm like, yeah, like obviously it's like I can tell the composer like put that in there. And
Right.
so when I transitioned into music directing, it kind of was like, oh, this makes so much more sense to me as a music director being a conductor. Um, and so like the moments where I actually get to conduct in a musical are like my favorite moments, like when I'm not stuck playing at the same time. Because like head conducting is great and everything, but when I actually
No,
get
it
to use my
isn't. It
hands,
sucks. Come on.
I'm keeping time. Cool. Like great. I'm so glad I have this. And now like especially with shows that have click everywhere, I'm just like, do I really need to be showing this? I don't even know anymore. Like my neck is
No,
sore. Like
I don't.
great.
If we're being honest, I don't think so. As a player,
Yeah, like I'm not looking anymore at like
no.
if I'm playing key two or something, I'm like I can hear the click. Like I'm with it now. Like but I went back to NYU for like a summer program. They did like a musical theater conducting thing with Ted Sperling.
Right.
And so I took that and we got to do that. We all focused on Sunday in the Park. So we chose
Mm-hmm.
two pieces together. And so I chose Move On and I chose Everybody Loves Louie as my two songs. And like that was my like first time in like 7 or 8 years where I finally got to stand in front of people and like actually stick conduct something. And I was like, God, it feels so good to do it, which is like partially why, again, the Broadway Ensemble Project is like kind of self-fulfilling. And like the reason why we're doing the Sitz Probe is really because like I get to stick conduct for the first time in 4 years again. Um,
I
yeah, it
love
just
it.
like doesn't happen.
Make it happen. That's
Yeah, and
that's
like
that's
that's
what you
another
got to
reason
do.
why like Wicked is one like my dream job is because it does have a stick conductor. And I'm like, there's so many shows now that come to Broadway that do not have a stick conductor because it's a smaller band or like that's not the style or something. And I'm like, I just like the opportunity is so rare that and like I just wish I got to do it more, you know?
Yeah, there's a. I think the other thing too is that, at least in my experience, that when people start to get a taste of what you can show and how you can affect sound, actually, show an orchestra or a band what you want and have them respond, and just not bullshitting. It's just awesome.
Yeah.
That feels really good. But then to actually have something to say what you're doing that they might not even expect, but then actually makes sense to what they're looking at. I don't know if you've ever, let me ask you this. Have you had the experience as a player of being in an orchestra with a conductor and the music's going by and all of a sudden you're just instinctively reacting to what they're doing and you think, I can just let myself go because
Yes.
I didn't. You're thinking, I didn't think about that because you're not even thinking.
Yes,
That
yes.
can actually kind of be this a quote life changing moment.
Yeah. Like as a singer, when I was in All-State Chorus, I think his name is Andre Thomas. He was a choral director from University of Florida or Miami or something, but he was our conductor. And there was just something about like he respected us and he made such a welcoming environment. I mean, obviously, like
Mm-hmm.
this was a gigantic chorus from all over the state, and so it could have been really overwhelming, but there was just like he never like disrespected us. He never like made us feel like we were bad. Like there was something about him that just made us want to watch him all the time.
Uh huh.
And then there was like the way like you're in a ballroom in a hotel somewhere for like 2 days working on this music, but it was so fun the way he did it. And like we were never like yelled at for talking in between things, like because we were just like, what's he gonna do next? Like we couldn't wait. And like every time we did the song, it was like a little different every time. And like we were just like so excited to see what was gonna happen when we got to this part and then this part and then this part. And like that was like so life-changing to me watching him do that. Like I remember emailing him once I was in college and I was like, I'm doing this because of what you did those 2 days. Like this was like you changed everything for me. And it was just
I
like
love
just
it.
watching him use his hands and I was like, wow, just watching your right hand told me everything about this song that I never thought about before.
And here's the thing, think of this. You can do that anywhere. You can
Right.
do that at the Broadway Ensemble Project on a Thursday afternoon at Open Jar. That's the thing that I think that people miss all the time. It doesn't need to be like it's just wherever we are. It doesn't matter,
Yeah.
right?
No.
So this guy is giving you this amazing experience in some ballroom
In Rochester, New York.
in Rochester, New York. Like it was so
Yeah.
life-changing for you. And I think like that's the charge for us is so whether it's at, at a studio in Open Jar or, you're in a Broadway pit or wherever, like
Yeah.
the magic that everyone like those of us that, like lucky enough to be MDs for however long we're going to do it. It's just so cool that I think that's part of the magic of conducting that we're just in a weird time now in terms of like I'm actually curious. It's something that I think about a lot. Like, I'm curious like what you are thinking about as like the world is moving more towards having more clicks and able to
Yeah.
play back and using stems and obviously there's a lot of the Disney tours that are using key comp.
Right.
Um, for people who are listening to this, who might not know what that is, it's a system where they can record instrumental parts that's keyboard controls,
Yeah.
so they can follow a conductor, and they can manipulate. They can have a band of about 9, and then it can
Yeah.
sound like a band of 20 because one keyboard book's controlling
Yeah. All the
sliced
rest of it.
audio.
Yeah.
Um, anyway, I'm just kind of curious what's been your experience and
Yeah.
what's your take on like where things are going in that way. I mean, I have some strong feelings about that in both ways because being a group guy plus
Right.
being this nerdy conductor. I'm just curious where your
Yeah.
thoughts and feelings are
I'm
on
in the
that
middle
topic.
as well, I think, because I like as a player, or actually, well, I don't know. Sometimes I don't mind a click, especially if it's like with choreo or with like specific set things. Like sometimes, like actually, when I did White Christmas, we used a click a few times for choreo, and I was relieved only because I was like, okay, I like it's a hard piano part for me to play. Like I know that this is gonna be fine, and like this is the tempo, and this is how it goes. And so
Wait,
like
sorry, were you playing conducting White Christmas?
no, I was key two for that. And
Oh, okay.
but it was like the whole string reduction was in there, and
Oh,
the
yes, I,
program,
I
the
know well.
programming yeah, was quite insane. And so I was like, and that book was kind of a struggle for me to like get it clean. And so knowing that like Blue Skies was on a click or Let Yourself Go was on a click, I was like, okay, like I know like how to get through this well.
With the
Thank
Russian
God.
tappers.
Yes. Um, so sometimes I don't mind it. Other times, like I'm like, does this song really need a click? I was like, it can take away the music making of it. Um, and then you start to feel like you're kind of just like a studio musician and you're just like, oh, I'm just like here to record this essentially. Like I'm just like playing to a metronome and it doesn't matter what I do, it's going to land in the end together. And so I'm kind of torn about it. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like when it comes to a click, like I try to still make it musical on top of the click, and I still
Do
try
you?
to play like musician over it, of course.
Yeah, I'm curious. Have you found in music when you're in an MD mode,
Yeah.
um, do you find that you have to do a different kind of management when you've got click? In terms
Yes.
of like, what's that been like? In terms of, do you feel like you have to do a lot of management of making sure everyone's on it or not on it, or their relationship to the click?
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think about that. But yes, I did have to manage it a little differently because people, yeah, they hear a click differently. Like they're either going to play on it or they're playing like around it. They're like,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh, are we like on the front of the beat? Are we on behind? Like, are we like a little relaxed on it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and some people just hate a click, obviously, so they will just turn the click down. And then I'm like, I can tell that you're not with everyone else because you're making too much music, unfortunately. And we're getting, it's like, it's just not, the phrasing is not landing, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, when I did A Christmas Carol, we only used click for one song, and that was because there was tap in it, and so we wanted to make sure it was always the same. And I felt like that was like the one song we didn't like really work on the musicality of it too much, just because we were just like, we need to line up. And it was like, oh, this turned into more of a rehearsal with a metronome as opposed to the shape of the song. And like just yeah, just getting to everyone to play with it the same way was the rehearsal, I guess. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I always find it interesting because when I first started, when I first started doing Broadway, no, I mean people weren't really using it
Right.
that
Yeah.
much. I mean here and there. Uh, I mean I first subbed at Lion King in 2004,
Yeah.
and there were two moments of click because they had costume issues, and there
Sure.
was
Yeah.
some pre-recorded vocals.
Yeah. That
When
makes
you think about White Christmas, I subbed there for a week on Key One the first year they did it on Broadway, and they had the
yeah.
25 piece. That sounded so good. It's like five
Amazing.
five fiddles and two celli plus the full big band,
Yeah. Oh, it was
and no click.
right.
Then the second year I was the associate and played Key One, and then it was 19. It was the full big band,
Right.
single fiddle, a single cello, Key Two, no click. And then actually when we did, it was just a thing of the conductor just and the drummer, like everyone just kind of had to understand the relationship like with the tap and like
Right.
where that swing was. And it was kind of a thing of like you just need to understand what that was and you figure it out.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it was cool. I don't know if you've ever had this conversation with actors, but
All the
I would say to people, well, it feels fast. They'd say it's slow.
time.
Well, it feels slow.
Correct.
It feels fast. Well, no, no, no. I know because my leg is doing this. Well, okay. Well, if I'm stick conducting, my arm is having that same muscle memory, except I have practiced with metronomes for, now almost 40 years.
Yeah.
How long have you used a third party
Right.
device? And by the way, I'm wrong all the time. Uh, how long have you used a third party device like that? And
Right.
you're going to come back and tell me that you're wrong all the time? And of course, directors, choreographers will never say that they're wrong,
No, never. No, no.
right? And so that's how I always know people are full of shit because they'll never say, they've never had the experience of, I'm wrong.
Right. Right.
But anyway, my point was one of the things, though, when I look back on that experience of how to succeed was I did feel that after a while, I got to the point where I started to know it so well, and I would get to, once we kind of figured out where it was, but sometimes it would be because when I would get the sub drummers in, who were
Oh, sure.
slightly
Yeah.
more jazz guys,
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, okay, okay. Yes, you are so hip and you're so amazing, but your
Right. Right.
relationship to the beat is more behind, and I would have to figure out a way to
Right.
how to show it. Or I'm like, okay, you need to play more like a show drummer. So
Right.
I got to
Right.
figure out how to
Little.
show it so that it looks. I have to show it in such a way that it's looking like, it's looking a
Yeah.
certain way so that you don't play it so funky that it feels slow to them, even though I'm showing the right tempo. Oh Christ!
Right. I know.
It was like such a mind fuck. But then, because it wasn't on click, sometimes what I could do is on a Saturday night, actually making it two clicks faster was the right tempo. Or
Right.
on a Tuesday night, making it two clicks slower was the right tempo. And I think what is not an honest conversation is when it is, quote, the perfect tempo that everyone sets early on.
Yeah.
There is this like slight fluctuation that you don't get, that in the old days when
Right.
I think like if you were a conductor that had like a really good sense of time and then was actually slightly riding that wave just in a really nuanced way to that company that actually was going to feel like it was that quote perfect tempo, but you were doing
Right.
this.
The whole time.
And
Yeah.
and no one was complaining because it actually felt correct. The
Right.
danger is like actually if you take Mamma Mia, right? I mean, as long as that show happened, I mean, I don't know, where's Dancing Queen at? It's so
Some,
slow,
yeah, it's a
right?
slower one. Yeah.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, if
The,
probably if they had not had that on click, it would have been dun 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 dun
yeah.
dun dun. Like if they didn't have it, because over time it's just going to velocitize, and they just want to get
Right.
out of there faster. So it's like that I
Yes.
could understand, but I do think that sometimes there's this subtle nuance that can get lost
Right.
when we just didn't have that option. I don't know. My thing is, as an audience member, I'm just curious what your thoughts are with this. When I see theater, I want to have this feeling like it can all fall apart.
Correct. Yes. That's why theater is so exciting because there's a
Yeah,
risk
I
always.
just I just want to have a feeling like it's a house of cards that can come tumbling down.
Yeah.
But when I'm listening to a recording or I'm watching a movie, yeah, then I love that
Yeah.
it's
Right.
stable and it's sort of like sounds as perfect as they got it in the time that they had and
Right.
there's a huge studio orchestra or whatever, that there's a zillion plugins on it and
Right. It's
great.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I don't necessarily need it to always sound raw unless that's a thing.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if I'm going into the theater, especially nowadays, where I want something a little more raw and
Yeah.
authentic, and
Right.
then I just think that sometimes our need to control and
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
I don't think we're having an honest conversation.
And I think that theater, I mean, we're getting to a point where like everything is becoming a product. So like they don't want it to vary at all ever. And so I feel like the click is a way to remove that variable to the detriment of the experience.
Well, sure. Well, especially I think in my experience, it kind of goes back to what your experience with the all-state conductor.
Yes.
You have to know how to do that.
Right.
I would actually argue that if you don't know how to do that and or haven't had the experience of that, your assumption is no one knows how to do it. Jacob, thank you so much for joining us. This has been such a great conversation. So
Thanks for
great to
having
get to
me.
talk to you and look forward to talking to you more both after this
Yes.
and in person in New York sometime. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks again to Jacob for joining me here today. You can follow him on Instagram at Jacob Carll on the keys and at Broadway Ensemble Project. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss episode 3. See you next time.